is this.
All right, amazing. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. We're so very happy, excited that you join us. Uh, we're especially grateful that we have such a brilliant person, our special guest, Bill, who is going to share with us his uh, first wisdom. We're gonna talk about the secret science behind, let's say, building a thriving business. Nowadays, running a business is, let's say, a critical skill that anyone in the world want to learn about, right? Even though you are um, you are working for someone, okay, you're still selling yourself. So we as a human being, we are, let's say, enterprises, right? So we're gonna learn how we wanna learn how to sell ourselves, okay, how to best sell ourselves. So I think this topic is very, let's say, interesting one, and we've got a great chance to come across a Bell who is very dedicated, experienced. I think I couldn't find anyone better, more better than Bill, all right, to cover this amazing and, let's say, unprecedented topic. So this initiative is called Saturday Conference. This is where we gather people, from different parts of the world. We learn from one another. We enrich our lives because we truly believe that um, in the age of information, ignorance is a choice. And we don't want to be ignorant. We want to learn to change, to shift our realities and to live life in our own terms. Okay, that's where this idea, this initiative comes in. So um from the bottom of my heart and on behalf of myself and the entire community here, I want to say to you, my dear friend B, thank you very much for accepting to be our uh special guest and sharing with us your vast, source of knowledge. So without any further ado, yes, take it away.
Okay, thank you so much for having me here. I
Yep.
appreciate the opportunity to share, and I like to keep this. I want to present some content or some ideas or thoughts, and then we can open it up for questions and answers. And the ideas. I like to kind of meet people where they are. And if I talk too fast, I'm from New York, so I guess I talk too fast. Slow me down or let me know, and I will try to clarify. And we can use the chat if we have that. If you have questions that uh, you can put it in there because I have it open and I can see if somebody has an issue. So I'm going to share my screen right now, and I'm going to share a PowerPoint presentation. And I like to start with the mind is like a parachute. It works best when it's open. So the idea is that's where the perspective we want to come from. And then we're all passionate about life. The idea, whatever it is that we want to be about, we want to be on fire about it or feel like it's our mission, our goal. And we also want to hit the target or hit our goals. And sometimes if we're missing it, there's got to be reasons for that. And we'll talk some more about that. But I also like some of the basic stuff that love is the stuff that we're made of. And some of these pictures are just neat pictures. I just like looking at them, so I'm sharing them. But the idea is that on a quantum level, we're all made of the same stuff, which is energy. And energy, scientists have proven or been said that energy can't be destroyed; it can only be transformed. So that means if we're made of energy, there's an essence or a part of us that can't be destroyed that is eternal. There's a spiritual element to us, the idea that we're human beings, we're spiritual beings having human experience. And the idea is that behind that, there's a universal consciousness that's in expression, and we're part of that. So um, that's just a thought. And then the idea is that why are we here? What's our purpose in life? We all have a job to do. And the idea is to be a blessing and make a difference. And how we do that is up to us. God's spirit, soul, the universe made us each differently, gave us different gifts and talents. Is how we express them and how we use them. It's supposed to be to help each other. And part of that is becoming the third bullet point there. Let's be the best, most upgraded version of ourselves that we can be. And what are the ways and means and tools to do that? So this is just another neat picture I like. As there's more to us than meets the eye. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. Um, and here's the thing: is like what matters most is how we see ourselves. I call it, looking in the mirror. We may feel like a kitten, but we actually have the power of the universe behind us. So, and we're all tending to be wanting to have a better quality of life or spiral up in consciousness as we spiral up in consciousness, the external quality of life tends to improve. So we're all seeking more. So the idea is this is a basic principle of getting into the business aspect or mindset. This is from Robert Kiyosaki, the cash flow quadrant, and the idea of using leverages. Idea if we're an employee in the box in the e-box, we're basically trading time for dollars. And the idea that there's a limit on how much we can earn because there's a limit on how much time there is in the day. So if we want to become earn more, we got to become worth more. It means we have to acquire skills, we have to acquire abilities, that kind of thing. So we become more valuable to our employers. Then we go down to the S is the self-employed. It's still a time for dollars model, the idea, but now you're looking at the boss in the mirror rather than across the room. And again, you're owning the business. And we go up into the B boxes where we get into business ownership, and we're starting to leverage other people's time. I call it the OPMs or the OPs, other people's time, other people's money, other people's know-how, and other people's audience is the strategy. And then ultimately the goal is to become an investor where our money is making money. So we're no longer on the time for dollars model, but we have freedom of time, freedom of life, freedom of choice. So the idea is that if you're going to be an employee for your whole life, then one of the strategies you need to learn how to do is live within your means and learn how to save and make your money work hard for you. And there's ways of doing that. As a business owner, the same thing. Some of the money that you bring in has got to be set aside for the future. And then as a business owner, again, the skill set of owning a business brings its own set of complications. So I want to share this. This slide isn't coming up too clearly. Let me just do it this way. I'll populate it and then we can talk about it. And this is what we call the LSOR model of business ownership. These are business activities and roles. And let's assume we all have a desire for financial independence someday. Anybody here want to retire broke? I don't think so. I'm kidding, but So the idea is that we need to become an investor. And as an investor in our business, then we need to have a business. I kiddingly say, one day you're in the shower and there's soap falls on the floor, you pick it up and an idea comes to you. I got an idea for a business. So that's the first step, the thought. So as the leader of the business, now you need to build out the framework or the undercarriage or the framework so that the business can prosper. And the idea is that the leader's job is to take up the what and the why, the vision and the passion. You can't ask the taxi cab driver, or you can't ask your neighbor, what should I do? What should my business be about? That's got to be something you feel strong about, or is that you're passionate about. Then once you have a business, now the issue becomes somebody's got to be the manager. We've got to set up the how. How am I going to do my sales and marketing? How am I going to do my operations and fulfillment? How am I going to do my admin and support? How am I going to do my research and development? So that is important. Then once you figured out how you're going to do it, then somebody's got to actually do the work. So now you need a doer role. And the idea is that somebody's got to do the sales and marketing, do the sales calls, or do the online marketing, or whatever is involved. And then the operation and fulfillment, you got to do. You got to, you sold something to somebody, now you've got to fulfill it or deliver it. And then you need some infrastructure. You might need if you're having a physical business, you might need a place to rent, lights, electric, water, equipment that you can do the work in. And then there's, again, also research and development. So this is the challenge that I find with this, and the reason I'm bringing it up is that the problem with becoming going from an employee, um, where basically you're have in one of these boxes, and at 5 o'clock comes, you go home and you're done for the day. Is as a business owner, you're wearing all these hats, so your roles go from being one role to having 10 roles. You go from being an investor to the leader, and then these 8 other roles. So it tends to compress our mental bandwidth. So that's where the stress comes from being a business owner, particularly a small business owner, because the idea is that you don't have anybody to delegate to. You don't have anybody to do the work. So the idea is, how can you manage that? Or part of the skill set of a business owner is learning how to delegate or learning how to get work done through others, leveraging the other people's know-how, other people's money, other people's time. That's the idea. Hopefully that makes sense. And then the other thing that we find is I'm going to tell a Jim Rohn story. He was a business philosopher, and he said that the wind, the rain, the sun, and the soil and the seed is available to all of us. So if that's the case, that means we all have the basic resources available in this life. Why do some people struggle to get by? Why do some just get by? And why do some thrive? What's the difference? If we all have the same resources available to us, what's the difference? Is it an internal thing or an external thing, or you know what I mean? Is it so? What happens is that some people can only think to bring a thimble to the ocean of life. The ocean of life is abundant. It lacks not the capacity to give us whatever we ask it. The question is, do we have the capacity to ask it? Some people think to bring a bucket. Others think to bring a tanker truck, and others think to bring a fleet of tanker trucks. So those are mindset issues. So the question is, why aren't we bringing fleets of tanker trucks? The other thing is, sometimes the bucket we bring has holes in it. This is where the personal development stuff comes in. How can I plug the holes that are in my bucket so that I keep more of what I'm earning or enjoying? Okay. Next thought is change your mindset. And the idea is it's the set of the mind that's the problem, and it's also the strength. So here's where I'm going to get into a little bit about what I call the iceberg model of consciousness. The idea is that the conscious mind is the 5% that's above the water. And it's our conscious mind is a 40-bit processor per second, 40 bits per second processor. The subconscious mind, which is the part that's underneath the water that we don't see, by definition, it's subconscious, we're not aware of it, is 95% of our awareness or subconscious awareness. And it's a 40 million bit processor. So it processes information a million times faster than our conscious mind. And the subconscious mind is orchestrating and conducting and keeping us healthy. The 30 to 40 trillion cells in our body is the subconscious mind is managing that for us, keeps us breathing, and so on, keeps us healthy. And then there's the superconscious mind, which is another idea that is, the higher self or the soul or spirit or Gaia or the universal awareness. And the idea that, the omniscience, omnipresence, and omnipotence of the spirit, it has unlimited processing power. And the superconscious mind and the subconscious mind are connected. So these are the thoughts. So the idea is, where is the biggest influence point if I want to change my mindset? Is it up here at the 5%, or is it in the 95%? So I would say it's in the 95%. So the issue is, how do we do that? Well, let me use this as another illustration. Our conscious mind, I analogize it to a little tiny dormouse. It's a peanut size. And the conscious mind, and this is where all most conventional wisdom and conventional help modalities or personal development modalities are, they all have a worthy goal of trying to influence the subconscious, but they're doing it by coming in through the conscious mind. What if there was a way to deal directly with the subconscious mind? So the conscious mind is the dormouse. The subconscious mind is a bull elephant. And it's basically, you get the idea of the size difference. And the goal of the subconscious mind is try to get the bull elephant to obey what we want it to do. Hard to do. We shout at it, we can scream at it. Maybe eventually the affirmations, if they're strong enough or loud enough or long enough, the bull elephant of our subconscious will learn to cooperate. So that's the challenge that I have. But I found that there's a better way. It's called Psyche. And here I'll just talk a little bit about my own personal development story. As a child, I was beaten by my father. We were whipped with a belt from my brother. And I didn't realize how traumatized I was by that. I was 7 years old, and all my trust and safety of the world was gone. And, the physical, corporal punishment I'd never had before. And, the person who's supposed to be loving you is beating you. I just felt so betrayed, and I was angry. I had welts on the back of my legs and butt. I couldn't sit down for a week. Today it would have been child abuse, but back then it was just my father was thought he was being a good father by disciplining us. But I found myself, because of that, I was angry. I was mistrustful of authority figures. And so I had a lot of personal development issues. I had to be self-employed because I was sure the boss was out to get me because he's an authority figure. And, the other thing that I found is I did 20 years of modern psychoanalysis. I knew I needed to heal and change, but, I had dreams of being chased by monsters and, demons and, all that kind of stuff. The anger was still very relevant. The psychoanalysis helped deal with some of the anger issues, but didn't change the basic fear. And then I did 28 years of modern spiraling up the law of attraction with Abraham, which helped some, again, moving up the emotional scale. But it wasn't until I found Psyche that I was really, I read a Bruce Lipton book called The Biology of Belief. And it sounded too good to be true. He talks about Psyche in that. And then there's another book he wrote called The Honeymoon Effect. And he talked about how he used Psyche to heal himself in his marriage. Again, it was sounded too good to be true. But I started researching about Psyche. It took me a year to do it. And I finally I hired a Psyche facilitator. In one session, she was able to transform the memory and the horror of being beaten as a child into a cartoon. Didn't change what happened, but it changed my emotional relationship to what happened in the subconscious level, which is where the issue was. And after that, I felt much lighter. I felt happier. I found myself relating differently to men because the fear of authority figures was kind of dissipated. Got a lot of work to do on my self-esteem, which I did. But I took 10 Psyche workshops after that. Now I'm a Psyche facilitator, and part of my work with clients is to help people deal with their subconscious limiting beliefs. And this is a very powerful tool to do that. It's a do with process, not a do to process. It's all permission based. We get permission from your higher self that it's safe and appropriate to do the change process. And then we get cooperation from your subconscious mind that is ready, willing, and able to change. And again, because of the quantum energy, the quantum level, we're all made of the same stuff. And because of quantum entanglement, I can basically surrogate for you with permission and do the muscle testing. That's the other key secret sauce. Don't tell anybody. But the way we communicate with the subconscious is through muscle testing. The subconscious doesn't speak English, so we have to have a way to communicate it. So what we do is we make statements like, I'm worthy of the best that love and life have to offer. I make that statement, and then I muscle test. If my subconscious believes it, it's going to test strong. If my subconscious doesn't believe it, it's going to test weak. So then I know that, okay, now we have 17 different change modalities, or we call them balances, where we can install that belief in the subconscious in a very short time. That transformation of the perception of stress balance took 15 minutes. So part of what I do is when I work with clients is we have a 12-week transformation program where we do weekly sessions for 12 weeks to try to spiral up in consciousness, dealing with whatever the subconscious limiting beliefs are. So we can overwrite limiting beliefs, we can transform the perception of stress, and then we can also get messages from conditions or situations. Sometimes spirit or higher self will kick us in the shins by giving us an allergy or a physical condition or an emotional condition because we're not paying attention to something we should be paying attention to. So there's a way of discerning that and then healing it. So the basic place I start with, we reparent the subconscious, we heal childhood wounds, we stop the self-sabotage and the imposter syndrome. We install the basic beliefs that I am safe, I'm enough, I'm worthy, I'm lovable, I am loved. Before the Psyche, the grime of life, the windows of the soul. We use a couple of Psyche processes to clear the window, and we have a happy life. So also on my website, there is a circle of harmony. There's some assessments that if you're interested in doing that, you can go to blbnow.com. It stands for Beyond Limiting Beliefs Now. You search for the assessments. You can take the assessment. It's free. It doesn't cost anything, but it gives you an idea of what the issues are. And if you want to learn more about Psyche, there's a Psyche International website. My profile is on that. and you can do some more homework or check that out. So basically, that is my presentation for today. So also just areas that we work with on the psyche side is grief and loss, self-esteem, relationships, spirituality, personal power, prosperity, health, and body. So I'd like to meet you where you are. And again, I could go on for hours, but I'd like to open it up for questions at this point. So hopefully I haven't bored you or put you to sleep. But Jerome, I'm open to questions. I'm going to stop my share right now so we can.
Wow, awesome. Thank you very much for such a beautiful share. We truly appreciate. We value your, let's say, your contribution. And this is unprecedented. And let's say uh, you talk about many things, right? And the number one question I've got for you is, uh, okay, it is true that everything it's, I mean, a business, okay, stem from an idea, a thought, right? But in practical ways, how do we turn uh, an idea, a thought to, let's say, an effective business, right? And how do we determine, okay, or identify the right people, okay, to work with, people whom we got work with to take our business to the next level and make it a thriving one. This is I mean, personally, the biggest challenge I'm encountering right now, right? Because there is a lot of betrayals out there. People are they're just the if a few of them, I mean, out of 90% of people are ready to jump on the occasion and then scam your money, right? And oh, sorry. All right, sorry. So, I mean, many people, a lot of people are not, they are dishonest, right? So, how do we make sure that we are getting surrounded with the right people uh, to build, I mean, a lasting business?
Okay, maybe I can answer that on two or maybe three different levels.
Hmm.
One is the belief that there's a lot of dishonest people out there, and that's true. But there's also a lot of honest people out there. So the idea is using the law of attraction, or if I have a subconscious limiting belief that people are looking out for me, or people want to help me, or God wants to bless me, those kind of things, then I'm going to attract those things. So, I'll vibrate at that frequency, and then I'll attract those kind of people into my life. The on a more practical level is the idea is that you want to for your business idea, whatever you're doing, is it doesn't make sense to reinvent the wheel. There's very few Elon Musks in the world or very few Einsteins. The idea is you want to find a business that's already thriving, or a business model, or a in an industry or whatever it is you're doing. You want to find other successful people and role model them. And then the other thing is you want to do is you want to get some mentors, or maybe even forming a mastermind group. I mean, that's what you're doing here, which is very wonderful, very powerful, is how to get around people who have the know-how that I can learn from. That's the key. And this is a good forum for that. And if you read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he talks about masterminding. So that's a key thing. And this is part of that process. There you go. Think and Grow Rich. Very powerful book. It's all about how to change the vibration. Psyche is a way to accelerate that, but that's also a way to do it. What we think about, we bring about is the philosophy. So how do we, and again, it's leveraging other. It goes back to leveraging other people's know-how. Who's been down this road that I want to go down before me, is successful at it, and how can I ask them? Maybe it's just reaching out to them, asking them to mentor me, or asking it's okay to ask questions. You'd be surprised how many people are willing to help. So that's I don't know if that's kind of answering your question. The idea is that if you believe that somebody's going to, the world is out to get me, you're going to find a way to fulfill that dream or fulfill that belief. And the idea is the challenge is that if you have a history of that having already happened, then it's hard to change that belief. So the idea is shifting it gradually and slowly, and kind of like what we're doing here is you have to set the intention on if you're into Neville Goddard, it's what we have to imagine it or visualize it in our mind first. There you go. Okay. you know, the idea is that everything is created three times. It's created in spirit and energetically. It's created in our mind. And we map out an architecture, if you want, or we create blueprints or a plan, if you want to call it that. And then we go out and actually build it. The house doesn't start out being built. It starts out as an idea or, somewhere. An idea is an energy. Then you do plans. Then you do the actual hammers and nails and the building part. So this is where the visualization, again, there's so many different powerful tools in terms of asking, I guess. The other thing, again, in my old age, I'm becoming more and more spiritual. The idea is that, we're all fingers in the hand of God, if you want to call it that. And we're brothers in that sense, brothers and sisters. So our job is to help each other, support each other, love one another. And the idea is that as we connect with our higher self, our spiritual self, then we become a conduit for the grace of God to flow through us to be a blessing for other people. So that's part of the mindset shift that has to happen, or the belief. And the other thing, again, the idea is that there's practical things that you want to do is you don't, today's social media, there's so many scams going on. You can't, unless you've reached out to somebody and asked them for something, you don't want to click on any of the messages you get because you don't know if, you don't know what's behind it. So I don't know, did that answer your question, or you have follow up?
Yes. It is okay. Thank you very much. I truly love what you said related to our belief system. We got frequently reevaluate our belief system because it is all about believing. We bring about what we think about. And if we persistently, continuously think about something, whether it is right or wrong, yes, we're going to, let's say, make it happen.
Yeah.
Yes, so we got believe that there is a lot of honest people out there. Yes, brilliant things, and since we, especially uh the imagination, right? It's like our worship where we create our own life. Yes, by visualizing. So I truly appreciate that. Yes, if we think we have an idea in the mind and we think about it, we visualize like we want it to be. Yes,
I'd
it's warranted that.
like to make another comment or thought, which is, they say as within, so without. It goes along with the theme we're talking about. And the idea is that the law of attraction is really not a law of attraction. It's not really a law of attraction. That might sound crazy, but really what we do is we take who we are and we project it into the world. And we experience it as a law of attraction because as we change, the within is changing, so the without changes. And we experience it as, a new person coming into our life, or new opportunity, or new resources, or opportunity. So it seems like it's coming from the without, but it's because we're projecting differently. So again, the root cause, or the real efficacious, or the leverage, is in improving the quality of our mindset so that we can improve the quality of what gets expressed. And the idea of the visualization, there's another mental model. It's kind of like when we watch TV and we get engrossed in the picture on the screen and the characters and the drama, and maybe there's violence, or maybe there's love, or maybe there's whatever's going on there. We get emotionally tied up into it because it becomes real to us. But what are we actually looking at? We're looking at pixels on the screen. Everything we have is a mind, is a concept in our mind. It's what we're looking on the screen is an interpretation from our mind of what it is. We're creating the meaning that we're giving to it. So we have the capacity to give it whatever meaning we want. We don't necessarily have the conscious capacity for that, but what we see is again an expression of who we are within. So the idea if we want to change the without, we got to change the within. And then the tool for that, again, there's a bunch of them for that, but the visualization I like to call it like again, there's so many different mental models, but a genie in the bottle. You're walking down the beach and you find this bottle and you uncork it, and the genie comes out and says, "Your wish is my command. What do you want?" The universe is like that. God is like that. What do we want? And if we're not, again, there's so many in all the great wisdom literature of the world, whether it's the Bible or whether it's the yogis or it's all about we have to ask, we have to seek, we have to knock, and when we do that, then things start showing up. If we're not asking, then the defaults are going to come in, which is that's the other challenge that I found is we all go through the same developmental process as human beings. We start out 9 months in utero, and there's imprinting going on in the environment, what the mother's eating and drinking and the emotional storm she has, that kind of thing. Then from 2 years, from 1 year to from being born to 2 years, it's pre-verbal. And the reptilian brain is being built up, fight, flight, and freeze. Is the world a safe place we're learning or not? And then from like 2 to like 8 is the verbal stage where we're learning about our worthiness, and we might learn about abandonment issues or our global beliefs about the way the world is this way come into play. Then from about 8 to 25, the neocortex, the logical part of the brain is built out. We all have different parenting experiences. So we're all going to have different, issues as part of that. But as human beings, we go through the same developmental process. So again, why do some people go to the ocean of life with a tanker truck and some people only think to take a thimble? It's a mindset issue, So I don't know if that makes sense or not, or you know.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So guys, don't hesitate if you have a question, please put your hands up. Yes, please take it away, Mida. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Bill, for sharing all those insights. I have two questions. And the first one is related to habits. Because why I do agree with you that the subconscious mind, or let's say, let's put it simply, the mindset plays a major role in who we are and the kind of success we can achieve in life. I still think, I might be wrong, but I still think that there is even another intrinsic power that is an old habit. And that is also very, in my opinion, very difficult to beat. So even when you manage to rewire your subconscious brain and to change, actually to shift your belief system towards a more positive way, there are still the old habits there, and beating those old habits is very challenging. So what are your suggestions and your recommendation for overcoming that? And my second question is related to time, because attracting or manifesting things, I believe, is not automatic. It may take some time. Even when you align with the right frequency, it's going to take some time to manifest in the physical world what you really want. And as human being, we tend to be sometimes impatient, especially when we are not sure of the outcome. We don't know when we will get what we want, and even if we will ever get it. So, what are the strategies to keep believing, to keep expecting, even when we are not seeing the results? Because I want to illustrate it like a seed. Before we see the leaves, the first leaves, there are a lot of things happening underground which we cannot see. But the farmer expects, and since he knows by experience that when you sow, you plant a seed, it's going to take some time, but eventually it's going to grow. But regarding life, regarding attracting what we want, um, at least me, I don't have that much experience. And when there is lack of experience, you don't know always what to expect and you are impatient. So, how to overcome this um, impatience? Because I believe it's going to also destroy all everything good you did. So, how to overcome that? Thank you.
Okay, that was a great question. Thank you for asking. That's wonderful. Um, and a couple of things come to mind. I mean, the model of the seed that you mentioned is, how can we mirror nature, or and the idea that the seed, the sun, the seed, the soil, again, is available to all of us. And let me kind of back up on the idea of the habits, and because there's the idea habits are basically beliefs and expression kind of thing. So, and the idea in Psych K, we ask two diagnostic questions. What do you have in your life that you don't want? And usually people, has very good information, because it's people start dumping about what all the things that are wrong in their life and what's bad and what they don't want. And that's wonderful, because now we know what needs to be changed. And then the next question is, what don't you have in your life that you do want, which is the aspirational stuff. And then we ask, what are some of the things that you've tried in the past to try to change that? So, and another concept in Psych K, and this is where the I don't know if we call them addictions or habits come in, is that we're getting something out of that. We're getting some kind of gain. We call them secondary gain. Sometimes people don't want to change because they're coping with life. What I find is that people tend to cope with life. They don't really want to heal. They're doing the best they can. So psychologically, they've made a compromise with life, and they're it may not be the optimal life for them, but at least they feel safe enough to get by and get through the day, kind of thing. So the issue is, behind the habits. Again, it's a mindset thing, and the habits are creating new. It's kind of like exercising. You don't start out lifting 300 pounds. You got to start, with lower, a lighter weight kind of thing. But when I have clients come to me and we're talking about habits, or that kind of thing, again, is what is it that you have in your life that you don't want? And the idea is, I got this habit of doing this negative behavior. So what is the secondary gain? What are you getting out of that? What's the positive benefit? And then the issue becomes substitution. How can I substitute something that's healthier, or more empowering for that behavior, rather than the negative habit? So I'm not sure I'm answering your question completely, but
So
the issue is, again, as within, so without. So as we change the within, the without is going to change the expression. And again, there's psychological benefit to the habits that we have. Again, it's a coping mechanism that we have. It's a way of dealing with life. So how do we change the coping mechanisms? And again, it's got to change the beliefs. And that's something, again, I don't think is a conscious level process. It's and then the other thing is the mental model of time. Time on one level, on a spiritual level, on the fourth dimensional, time doesn't exist. There's only eternity. and we're all expressions of the divine mind. So, at our soul level, we're living in eternity. But when we get into the third dimensional level, where there is time and space and past, present, and future, and there's physicality, and so the idea is, how do I accelerate time? I'm not sure you can accelerate time, but you can accelerate your capacity to influence the things so that they manifest faster. Does that make sense? If that,
Yes, Bill. I want to contribute because I'm really interested in his second question because I can relate to that. Yes, about manifestation, right? It is let's say a core issue, right? As human being, without touching a thing, we do not believe it at all. But when it comes to manifestation, we got to to learn about the universal laws. You know, the entire universe is governed by laws, natural laws, right? And the example he put it out is related to the law of gestation, right? Which states that for instance, is if a woman get pregnant, it has to take 9 months, 9 months, right, before she gives birth to a baby, right? So it doesn't matter your religion, prior, it has to take 9 months. So we gotta learn about the universal laws which govern whatever it is that we desire to manifest. This is the first, let's say, prerequisite, right? So yes, when a farmer plant a seed on the earth, they know that some mechanism happen, right? In the background, underground, right? And that means that it implies that believing is not sufficient. Okay? Faith only is not sufficient. Faith with understanding. We gotta mix faith with understanding. Understanding stems from knowledge. We want to acquire knowledge. Okay, and that's what we're dealing with here, right? Knowledge. You gotta believe, but you gotta also learn about things. Okay, the mechanism governing things. Without that, you will stay, you won't really stay the course. Okay. But when you've got a goal and you truly it is something really excites you. Really stretch you, right? And you are really committed to it. You know, based on your understanding and your belief system, you know that it will happen, no matter the amount of time it may take, because you know the law of gestation that anything that you desire will take some time to manifest. Anything, right? It's maybe a house, a job, anything, right? So, and it doesn't belong to us, okay, to seek, or let's say, to figure out the timing, the right timing. The timing belongs to the universe, to God, to the supreme power, right? So I want to wrap up and say that yes, to stay persistent and to persevere until what you desire manifest, you got learn about the universal laws by studying uh maybe bestsellers, okay, and when you study these books, you are, let's say, you get a clear idea about who you are. Who you are is, our DNA is perfect. We can manifest anything, okay? And when you trust the process, and you know that everything is going to work out for you, it just unfolds, right? And it requires no effort, no greater effort to manifest, misery than manifest let's say, riches. Okay, so I strongly recommend that. Yes, we not, I mean, we not just believe, but rather than that, we deepen our, let's say, knowledge, our wisdom, right? And get to know about things really matter, and creates, I mean, dramatic change, shifts in our mindset. And then when we learn about all these things, it will give us, I mean, power. Okay, faith. It will increase our faith, and we're gonna manifest. And manifesting is all about energy. When your energy is, I mean, up, right? You have, I mean, the great amount of energy, you can manifest anything easily. So it also depends on your experiences, right? The kind of environment you are living in, the people you surround yourself with, the material you are reading, etc., etc. So it is a, let's say, it is a holistic, let's say, system approach. Okay. Yes. It's always work out.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, that, yes. Again, there's different levels of creation, if you want to call it that, or manifestation process. But, one of the things that I find working with, micro or solo entrepreneurs is that sometimes they're relying on their business to fund their lifestyle or pay for their bills, and it's not ready for that. It doesn't have the capacity to do that. So it's kind of like looking for the harvest before the seeds have even sprouted, or so the idea is when you go into business is to have it properly capitalized, to have it, or have enough money so I know where I'm going to eat, or I know how I'm going to pay my bills, so I don't need to sweat, my business not being good enough or fast enough, or the idea, take the pressure off, let the cycle of time and the cycle of seasons work in the manifestation of your business. And sometimes, some people have a day job, or they do. In this world today, we have multiple hats that we wear, and we have different ways. Time for dollars business model as an employee gives you a lot of economic security. And typically, if you're working, I don't know, 40 hours a week, whatever it is, that leaves you 168 hours in a week. So if you're working 40 hours for the man, so to speak, that gives you a lot of other time to do your own thing until you get to the point where it's producing a harvest that you can live on, and then you make the transition, or maybe you do both. But the idea is that you don't want to have to I guess one of the biggest reasons for business failure is that it's not properly funded, and that they run out of cash, or the cash flow doesn't work because they're taking too much money out for living expenses. So, I mean, that's just a tactical, practical thing. So part of the planning process, or architecting the business model, is how am I going to, putting it all on a timeline. How much. Again, there's a whole planning process in that. I guess I should just leave it at that. But the other thing I just wanted to say while we're on this is, I have a client who lives in South Africa, and she's learning how to do day trading, or trading, or and she's spent, she was a Psych client, and she did a lot of personal development issues to work on, and that she's tried several times to do the business model as a trading company and so on, and failed, and didn't do well. And then, okay, but now she's at the spot where she's got the self-confidence, the belief in herself, and the ability. And now she's gone through some training on a trading platform or other companies, and where she practiced using their money. I guess you got to pay a little bit to be on the platforms, but she's done all that, and now she's basically experiencing life as a trader, and she's doing very well, and she's intuitively connected. And but the idea is that one of the themes that I also wanted to mention is that in our digital age, or in our post industrial society, if you want to call it that, you can leapfrog the developmental process because you have access to technology like the internet and cell phones and smartphones, so that you can use information-based technologies to run a business. In the digital age today, you don't even have to have a physical, bricks and mortar type of business. So the question to ask is, how can I, or in what ways can I leverage that for my benefit? So that was the thought.
Also,
Okay,
yes,
amazing. Thank you all for your clarifications. It's well appreciated. Thank you.
Sure.
great. Thank you as well. Dr. Muriel, do you want to ask a question? Please take it away.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach, and good evening, everyone. I'm so glad to be in this conference, and I would like at first greet and thank our guest, Mr. Bill Fauth, and have a business and thrive this business today nowadays is a crucial, so important. But we have like many of advice and coach that help us to thrive in our job, our business, and it is so paramount. But I have a question regarding the comments of many people. It is a basic question. Do you think that there is someone who are not naturally capable to become businessman, or you think that everyone can become a businessman? There is some ability that we have to have before everyone can become a businessman, just want it and work on it, or there is like natural ability, yeah, like that.
So that's a wonderful question. And the thought that comes to mind is there's two ways to think about that. If you look at the business percentage of the population, at least in the United States, that are business owners, it's about 10%. Only 10% of the people have the entrepreneurial bug. The other 90% want to go into one of those boxes and go home at 9 to 5 and they're happy to they're happy to have the lifestyle and the income, be able to take care of their family. They're not looking to become millionaires or billionaires or they're and I would say partly there's different explanations for why that is so, but why are the 90% happy to be employees trading time for dollars and letting other people leverage their time, money, and know-how? And I would suspect that a lot of it is confidence or belief system. They don't have the self-esteem, they don't have a sense of worthiness, they don't think that they're good enough. It's not that the universe lacks the capacity to give us whatever we ask, but we lack the capacity to ask. And some people are just too fear-based. So there's no right or wrong answer to that. One of the things I did in my 40s is I took the Strength Finder assessment, and I found that the idea is that there's certain things that we're really good at and certain things that we're really bad at, and we're taught to try to strengthen our weaknesses. And that's exactly the wrong attitude. Find out what you're good at and then delegate everything else. And because if you architect your life around your gifts, you will be one of a kind, you will shine, you will be attracting the people that need to be attracted to you. So for me, I found out that I love to learn. I'm a lifelong learner. That's my top strength. And I'm also an intellection and ideation and futurism and relationships. I'm also like the relator. I'm the oldest of five. I'm the big brother, so I guess I like to help people. Nurturing part of it. But the idea, find out what you're good at. And once I took that assessment, all of a sudden I realized why I was struggling with things, because I was trying to do things that were at the bottom of my strength zone. So at best, I'm going to be mediocre, second best, doubting myself, insecure, and that was the case. So I started architecting my life around my strengths, and all of a sudden, new opportunities came up, new things came. So my thought would be to answer that question is anybody could be a business owner, but if they don't have the mindset for it, they shouldn't be a business owner, at least not yet. The idea they need security over opportunity. Some people need security and stability rather than opportunity. So one of the things about being an entrepreneur is you're willing to take risks, not crazy risks, but calculated risks. You're willing to step outside of your comfort zone. Most people are not willing to step outside of their comfort zone. So you need to stretch. You can't stay the same and change at the same time. It's just, so the idea is that if we're going to become more, we got to do more in order to have more. But the idea that the being part of be, do, and have is an internal change process, and for most people, that's not comfortable. So, I don't know if that does that answer your question. I hope, kind of, sort
I
of.
love
I
that.
thank you. Your response is so reassuring, I can say. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Brilliant. All right. So we 1 minute or 2 minutes. Yes, from let's say the end. So is there another question, please? Yes, take it away, Edouard.
Yeah, good evening, coach. Hello, everyone. I'm so happy as all of the participants tonight to be part of you. It was so long time I didn't speak English, so I tell myself, yeah, maybe it's time to say just hi to Mr. Bill for coming here and Coach Jerome. I want to say a big thank you to do everything to bring such a brilliant mindset coach as Mr. Bill to come here and show us some of the best strategies to grow and to be better in our domain. So thank you, coach, and thank you, Mr. Bill. May God give you let's say a better mindset. Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. My goal right now is to be a conduit. The idea, try to let the grace of God flow through me, not from me, but through me. It's not my will, but thy will. And, Jerome showed up in my life and gave me an opportunity to share whatever wisdom I have. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you very much.
All right. Last but not least, yes. Take it away, my dear friend Abalo, please.
Good evening, coach. Hello.
Hi, go ahead, please. We can hear
Okay,
you.
thank you. Okay, thank you, thank you. Good evening, coach. Good evening, Mr. Bill. I'm so very grateful to participate to this meeting, to this training. So I have some question, two exactly question. The first one, I want to know that for your experience, uh, for the way to create our company, what is the real secret to choose your partner? The real secret to choose your partner. I ask this question because I remarked that for my young experience, uh, in the process to create your company, when you don't choose well the your partner, the process are not going to a long time.
Okay,
Okay, this
got
is my
it.
first
This
question.
one. Mm-hmm.
Okay, the second question concern the business creation. I want to know that for Mr. Bill, can you think that anyone can do business?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abalo. I appreciate. I don't know if you listened to Bill when he was replying to Dr. Murray, but this
Mhm.
question has been asked before
Okay.
by Dr. Muriel, and he covered it already.
Oh,
And
so
yes, even the first one, I am the first one who asked how to choose the right person, okay,
oh
and form your team, etc. So All these question has been asked and answered, right?
Oh,
Can I,
sorry.
If
can
you
I
do not,
Sorry.
maybe Bill, do you wanna add something? Yes?
well, let
Uh,
me make a comment here. I mean, the idea as a business owner or as an entrepreneur and
okay.
trying to figure out what I want to be when I grow up kind of thing, the idea of what am I good at? That's all the journey, and again, I think the strength finder assessment, there's the disc assessment, what am I good at is one place to start. And you can look at your values, what gets you excited, those are kind of things, and what turns you off or bores you or, causes you stress. Those are things you don't want to do. But the other thing, as a business owner or as an entrepreneur, it's kind of like, baseball or any kind of sports. You don't hit 100% of the balls that are thrown at you. You don't make 100% of the soccer goals every time you kick the ball. The idea as a business owner, you are a management scientist. You're a business scientist. You're experimenting to find out what works. So built into the process, and this is where most of the employees are not willing to go, is that you're going to make mistakes. You got to be okay with being not okay. You got to be okay with stumbling and skinning your knees and getting back up, dusting yourself off, and continuing because you have a vision and a purpose that's greater than your fears or your doubts and so on. But the idea is that you're in the school of life. This planet is an education institution for our soul. And the idea is that it's okay to be not make mistakes, go out there and screw up and fail, and but the idea is it's never over. It's never over until you're over, and you're never over until you're on to the next life, and or whatever your beliefs are around that. But the idea is in this life, and the other thing that this is where the psyche helped me so much is it's okay to be not okay. I'm going to make mistakes instead of beating myself up about it. Look at it as a tuition in the school of hard knocks, or and again, surround yourself with people who are going to support you and love you and share your vision if the best you can. And sometimes your family isn't the place to look for that. Sometimes again, this kind of group that we're talking in right now is a good place to get emotional support. Usually there's a lot of naysayers in your family. Maybe there's not. Hopefully there's not. But the idea is that the people who see you, it's kind of like if I can go to a biblical analogy with Jesus, he was not a prophet in his own land because his people saw him growing up and saw him as a little kid and making mistakes. They didn't see him as the Messiah. So there's going to be a certain amount of that in your life when you're trying to be bigger than they are. They're also going to try to poo-poo you, maybe take you down, or they're not necessarily have your best interest at heart. They have their best interest. And you stepping out of your comfort zone may make them uncomfortable. They all have hidden agendas. So again, you want to surround yourself with people who are going to support you, love you, and nourish you. And not everybody's going to do that, unfortunately. So, and it's okay to be not okay. And again, it's you want to minimize the mistakes, obviously, and that's what we're here for. And we're talking about knowledge and education and learning, But realize that the inherent in your process is you're a management scientist. They said Thomas Edison in inventing the light bulb came up with 10,000 different elements before he actually got the right one. Some people say it's 1,000, but either way, he persisted. He tried and made mistakes. He tried and made mistakes till he got it right. We're going to be doing the same things until we're having the business that we want. And again, some of the influence points to accelerate that are what am I good at? What do I love to do? Figure that out, because then your passion is there, and the talents and gifts that God gave you then can be manifested in His will rather than your will. Anyway, I don't want to get too biblical, but you get the idea. You want to be guided from on high. So do what's in your comfort zone. So I hope that answered the
Wow,
question.
wow. I love that. I love that. It's just amazing. Thank you so much, Bill. I think we're a little bit. Divina, do you want to say something before we close? Hello.
Well, somebody else. I mean, I have more time if people have more questions. Otherwise, we can finish up. I just like to let people know how to contact
I'm
me or
good,
reach
Jerome,
out
but
to me.
thank you.
Great. Fantastic. All right. So we are a little bit over time. Yeah, 8 minutes, but right. I mean, so Bill, do you have some closing remarks?
Well, just I'm a big believer in what goes around comes around. I like to share, so I'm having a master class on taxation and get my tax candy, which is a United States issue. But I also talk about some of these principles in that. So you're welcome to attend, or if you know people in the United States, it might be relevant for. I think it was in the Facebook group at getmytaxcandy.com. And my website is Beyond Limiting Beliefs Now, or blbnow.com. You can also find out some more information there. There's a couple of videos, there's some assessments, and just reach out to me. And I'd like to do again, how can we rather than why can't we, and how do we collaborate and support each other? So I'd be happy to hear from you, and maybe do a Zoom meeting and see how we can in what ways we can support each other.
Thank you very much, Bill. I truly appreciate having you join us here as a special guest. God bless you. We learned a lot from you, and we showed that by implementing, putting into action your brilliant teachings, we're surely going to, let's say, shift our lives. So thank you very much. We appreciate. We hope to, let's say, to welcome you again for the next time, maybe with
I
another
would love to.
topic, theme, right? We appreciate. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoy the show. Now, time is up to close. Thank you very much, and bye for now.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay.